Alright, this is just going to be a quick, simple little video on making your own signs. I like to make my own signs because I can get, you know, the exact that I need. And for small wreaths, I like these little 6x8 signs to fit in the little tiny wreaths, like the 8-inch wreaths, the little tiny ovals, the wreaths that I donate to nursing homes and things like that. For this project, you need a bottle of Mod Podge. You don't necessarily need this great big huge bottle, but I make signs almost every day, so I have a big bottle. You need some clips, some little clips. It doesn't matter what kind. You need your image. I print mine out 1/4 of an inch larger than the board that I'm going to put it on, so I have some adjustment room, some wiggle room, and then I just trim it when it's done. I have mine printed at Office Depot. I have them printed on the heavy cardstock with the shiny finish, so it's already sealed, shiny, ready to go. These signs can go in just about any wreath, and they're fine on a wreath on the porch, like a covered porch, something like that. They're not good for direct weather, so if they were going to put it out on their lamp post or something like that, you would need to seal it. But otherwise you don't have to seal them. Mine's, this one, I think I cut it at 6 1/4 inches by 8 1/4 inches for my 6x8 board. You're going to need an extra one so that when you clamp it, you can sandwich the paper between the two and it'll hold it flat while it dries. They tend to curl up sometimes just because the ink is so heavy on the paper, and then it's sealed after that. So when you cut it up, it might curl up a little. So you need another board to sandwich it. You need a chip brush. I think I got these at the dollar store. It was a pack of 3. I either got them at the dollar store or Walmart for $1 or 97 cents at Walmart. So you just take your brush, put a very thick coat of Mod Podge on your board. You want it to be thick enough that the picture can slide around when you when you attach the picture, when you apply the picture. It's kind of a messy job. You want it to be squishing out the sides when you put the clamps on. Very thick, but not so thick that you're not going to be able to clean up the edges when it does squish out the sides. Okay, so then you just move your scrap paper, put your picture face down, very carefully, holding it by the sides, flip it over, put it on your paper, and get it adjusted so you have a little margin on each side that you can trim off later. Wiggle it around till it's nice and straight and has made good contact. Give it a good press. Wipe off the edges where it's on the back, anywhere it's on the back. Flip it over and use this part of your hands, the fatty part of the sides of your hands, and just squeegee out any extra glue. The reason why you use that part of your hand is because it hasn't touched any glued surfaces yet, and since this is such a messy process, you don't want to accidentally get glue like that anywhere where you don't want it. And you take your 2 boards, and you sandwich this together and clip it really tight. your clips need to be pretty tight so it holds it down real good. And then you just check around the edges and make sure that the paper has contact with the board all the way around. And I just use my fingernail to clean up any excess glue that's squeezed out of the sides. And that's it. You let it dry for a few hours and you're done. Just I know you're not supposed to use your rotary cutter for paper, but I have a ton of replacement blades and I get the replacement blades really cheap. So I just use my rotary cutter after I take it off here, put it face down on the board. When it's dry, trim around the edges. You get a perfect sign every time. Just make sure you don't have a dull or worn out rotary cutter blade so that it doesn't tear the paper. Or you can use an X-Acto knife with a little blade on it. Make sure it's a new sharp blade. I wouldn't recommend the blades from the dollar store. They're not very sharp, and they're flexible, so they bend. When you put pressure on them, they bend. So you would need a decent X-Acto knife blade from the craft store or from Walmart, something like that. As long as it's good blade, you'll be fine. Just trim it up when it's dry and it'll be perfect.